今天很高兴接受贝里斯新任驻台大使梅凯瑟阁下呈递到任国书，我要代表中华民国台湾政府及人民表达最诚挚的。
On September 12th, President Lai Ching-te received the credentials of new Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Belize to the Republic of China, Taiwan, Katherine Vanessa Meighan. And this year, Taiwan and Belize mark their 36 years of diplomatic relations that have seen significant growth in economic and trade exchanges over the years. And in this episode, I get to talk to Madam Ambassador Meighan, who is a distinguished alumna of National Zhengzhi University, about her new appointment and what she is looking forward to accomplish, and how she thinks education exchanges, women's empowerment, and new avenue for trade and investment can strengthen ties between Taiwan and Belize.
I'm very, very excited to be here. I'm looking forward to a great discussion.
Thank you so much. To start our conversation, could you help our listeners get to know Belize a little bit better?
Oh, absolutely. So let's see if we can find some fun facts about Belize. So first and foremost, Belize is the only English-speaking country in Central America. That stands out. We also have the longest living barrier reef in the world. The longest in the Western Hemisphere and the second longest in the world as well. So Belize is a treasure. It's very different. It's a young country. We got our independence in 1981. And we celebrate, as you said, 36 years of diplomatic relations with Taiwan. And most certainly, I think there's a lot of commonalities between our people. Our people believe in independence. They believe in democracy. They believe in self-determination, right? Charting our own course as a nation. And you said it very, very well when you said that there's a lot of complementary values between our nations, and those values keep our relationship very strong.
Belize achieved its independence from the United Kingdom on September 21st in 1981. It sits on the Caribbean coast of northern Central America. And in 1996, the Belize Barrier Reef, one of the Western Hemisphere's most pristine ecosystems, was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And most importantly, Belize is one of Taiwan's 12 diplomatic allies. For the past 36 years, many students from Belize came to Taiwan to study under Foreign Ministry's Taiwan Scholarship Program. And Ambassador Meighan was once a recipient herself of the scholarship.
Right. So yes, that's an interesting path. That's an interesting part of the path of my story, if you want to say it that way. Yes, I studied here and I got my IMBA, which is an International Masters in Business Administration at National Zhengzhi University 20 years ago. And of course, that was a formative time, very absolutely mind-opening and absolutely fulfilling experience as well. What it has done for me as well is, and it really is a full circle moment to come back to Taiwan in this capacity. So it's given me the opportunity to be able to come back here with a deeper understanding and connection for Taiwan. And as a diplomat, really what you're doing is building relationships, right? Identifying the commonalities between the values, understanding countries. So I have that advantage already of being able to understand what it really means to live in Taiwan, be a Taiwanese, right? At least from my perspective. And so I'm excited about these opportunities because I get to support my country, but I get to support another country that has given me a lot through my path.
I see. And I suppose 20 years ago, Taiwan must look very different from today.
You know, the answer to that is yes and no. I've gotten that question quite a lot. And the most simplistic, quickest, easiest way to answer that is just Taiwan is bigger and better, in my opinion. Meaning, somewhere that was already developing is now expanded, and to meet the demands of the community, the economies have just developed even more. The expectations and the international angles, at least for Taiwan, have also changed as well. So for instance, instead of maybe having a few Italian restaurants, there are now very many. right? In my neck of the woods or in where I was. I got a quick opportunity to go back to Muja, which is the neighborhood that I was in. And I certainly see the development there. I went back to the school. And funny enough, as I was telling the team before, I distinctly remember our building. Our building really stood out, right? And we have a beautiful campus and there's a lot of natural aspects to it. But now our building is just one of the big buildings that are there. So, these are the sort of bigger and better type of examples that I've been seeing through time. I also remember Taipei 101 was a baby when I was here. I think it opened the year before I left. And around Taipei 101 was not as developed. Now, look what it is. So it's that sort of experience. I've also, gotten an opportunity to be able to visit a few places that I never did before. For instance, Sun Moon Lake, which is beautiful, very historic, has that ancient, aspect to it. But at the same time, you see the conveniences and the opportunities and, just the tourism related conveniences that are around it, that you can go and have a lovely experience at the same time, immerse yourself in nature and learn a very, very interesting story behind why Sun Moon Lake is called Sun Moon Lake as well.
I see. And have you returned within these 20 years?
That's so funny. My intentions were to return. I was supposed to come back here the year that COVID hit. So for that purpose, this is when I came here in July, that was my first time back, but that was not the plan. The plan was to come back, and then COVID happened and things changed.
I see. Oh, wow.
As it did for many of us, right?
Yeah. It was very disruptive for about 3 years.
Yes. So I can also tell you that there was a reason for me coming back. One of my friends that continues to be a friend up to today, and I've had the opportunity to be able to interact with him since I've been back, was having a baby. And that was one of the reasons why I was coming. So also the Rotary International Convention was supposed to be happening around then. And I'm a Rotarian and I've been a Rotarian for quite some time. And so for that reason, I was coming back. But funny enough, so Rotary is coming back next year. The Rotary International Convention is going to be here in Taipei. So I'm excited about that. So for many, many reasons, it's quite interesting where I am now, and that there's a lot of full circle reflection moments that I can do as well.
I see. And I remember in your speech when you met President Lai Ching-te, you mentioned education exchanges, gender equality, and economic and trade cooperation. Can you tell us about these key aspects, why you mentioned them?
Absolutely. So I can take them one by one. Let's start with the last one, which is the trade angle. As we've been discussing before, I come with a business private sector background. I started out with a political science degree, economics degree, complemented it with that master's degree. So there's always been that angle of international relations, international business that was a part of my path, right? And a part of my journey and what I wanted to do, my aspirations and dreams. And I headed into private sector after I left and finished my schooling here. And that gave me an opportunity to see where there is so much potential in terms of trade and investment for Belize. And, Taiwan has so much potential and opportunity. The challenge that we have is the distance. So my quest and my challenge and what I'm challenging myself to do is to try to find the ways in which we can build those connections and bind the tides that connect us wherever we can to see where there are opportunities for trade and investment. We know that, for instance, we've now gotten an FDA, right? Approval for them from your FDA for the importation of shrimp. That's a huge opportunity. We have another product that we're looking at, which is cacao. Belize, interesting enough, has the geography and has the right climate, the soil content, etc., that is perfect for the growing of cacao. Cacao is the main ingredient for chocolate, as we know. And it is... So there's a lot of opportunity for us to be able to provide high quality, right? premium cacao, because naturally we have the environment for the growth of such, to Taiwan. So that's another area. So what we're doing right now in hindsight, or just to sum it up, is identifying what are the products that we want to trade from a product perspective. Now, given the fact that there's another aspect to business, trade and investment, which is services, that is not affected by distance, there is huge opportunities that we can take advantage of and develop and enhance in the service area. We can think tourism, we can think technological exchanges, we can think many aspects that we can then build those binds and even further enhance the relationship that we have right now on trade and investment. So that's one topic. Secondly, when it comes to do with female empowerment, I'm passionate about it. I'm an empowered woman that has had tremendous opportunities and has seen how an empowered person, in my case, a woman, can shine, can give back to the community in which they grow, give back to their families, and give back to their country at the same time. So I personally believe in that. So that energizes me, and that's a part of who I am, and it's a value of mine, right? I can also attest and give you a specific example from my past experience where I have seen that the women empowerment projects in Belize, for instance, have had tremendous effects. I was lucky enough to lead the charge for our Rotary Club when we got a grant from ICDF in Belize to establish a program that was called Aspiring Women Entrepreneurs. The nickname was AWE. And ultimately, the project was to bring young entrepreneurs together, young female entrepreneurs together, identify what product line they wanted to enhance, give them an opportunity to learn from mentors, so on finance matters, marketing matters, etc., product development matters, and then showcase their product and showcase them along the path of development for their business. And that, in a sense, really stands out as just one example of how impactful these women-driven projects can be. These ladies, believe it or not, there's one of them that now sits on the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry Board. There's another one that has created not a Belize city business, but a countrywide business for themselves. There are others that have expanded and created their own storefronts as well. So we certainly see that. And what I love most of all from that experience, because we actually, funny enough, we have a WhatsApp group and we communicate on the WhatsApp group up to today. And what are we doing in that WhatsApp group? We're sharing ideas. We're encouraging each other. We are talking about our successes, and those things matter. Right? So it's like building those networks and encouraging each other and showing how you can be one of those examples of success as well. So that's an example that I can give you. And as I said, there are many, many, many other projects that have done the same thing in different ways. And on the educational front, so again, if I can liken it to my experience, I'll tell you that 20 years ago when I came, there were 2 scholarship holders from Belize. Now there are 64. That came in September of this year. Look at the opportunities as well. The Taiwan scholarships range from international business, international trade, academia, meaning, some level of going back and becoming a professor, right? So the arts. You can also think about the fact that there is IT related courses and degrees that you can get, engineering courses, health courses. These are things that shape the dynamic of what your country become. Education is power. Knowledge is power. There's so much we can think about. We've learned through history that tells us how important education is. And so these opportunities that Belizeans are really grasping and taking advantage of. Imagine a young lady from a farm in the Toledo district getting the opportunity to come here and become an engineer, right? And change their family dynamic and their life, right? Also, somebody else coming from an urban area and being able to create a young business, a business that then becomes a part of a network of entrepreneurs and enhances the middle class. These things are tremendous. So, and again, these are just a few examples, and we can go on and on about them. But the educational paths and the educational journeys of all these individuals that have come and gone back, and some that remain here actually, and have their lives. They have kids, they have wives, they have husbands. So it's incredibly fulfilling to hear those stories, and most importantly, it's incredibly impactful, and it just continues to build those bonds and those connections to Taiwan, and it also shows us that that these relationships over time can reap benefits for so many, right? And I'm talking about the Belize benefits, but as well, the Belizeans that come here and contribute towards the community, that, talk about their culture and learn about the Taiwanese culture. And that builds, again, those connections and those relationships that are long lasting, that are not to be forgotten. I'm 20 years later coming back and look at these opportunities that I've gotten as well. And I can tell you I'm not alone, because I've met other diplomats as well that have had a similar path of studying here and then now getting the opportunity to become an ambassador. So amazing. It's working.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a simplistic way, it's working, and working very well.
Yeah, and I think you coming here as an ambassador also gives Taiwanese young women aspiration. As someone who, say, a young female student who wants to be a career diplomat, they now can look at you and say, hey, there might be a chance for me to become Taiwanese ambassador to Belize someday.
Absolutely. And I thank you for saying that, because that is my hope, that I can be an example that others will want to follow. One that, somebody who leads with dignity, with a lot of integrity, with a certain level of confidence. But, when you think about confidence, there also has to be the component of humility. And that's a part and a similarity between our cultures as well that I think interconnects us. And I agree with you, maybe a young Taiwanese individual, maybe a male, maybe a female, going and learning more about Belize and exploring Belize, whether through diplomatic courses or opportunities, or also through business relationships, right? There are a few private sector businesses that we've met that have asked, they've exchanged with us information and even told us, hey, we are looking for that Belizean individual that can help us connect our business here to our business there, right? So there's many, many, many opportunities for where we can continue to be friends and where we can change lives together.
Now let's go back to Belize a little bit. You are the former president of the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Do you think this experience translates into your new role?
Oh, absolutely. I think all life paths give somebody an opportunity to choose to become a better person or not. So this one, most certainly, and this is my last path before I came here, has helped to build my understanding of the general private sector business related needs of Belize. And that has only helped to enhance and helped me along that path of identifying a process and a potential plan and strategy on how we can connect, and coming right back to the trade and investment angle. So when we talk about trade and investment, that gets me incredibly energized to see where the potential is. There's a lot of opportunity between our two nations to work together and work together in a mutually beneficial way. Right? So Belize gets the opportunity at advancement, technology, development opportunities, even logistics, right? There's a lot that we've been talking about. And so I prefer to not dive into the details too much because it's still in the development stages. But there is just a huge amount, a tremendous opportunity. And that Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry perspective and experience gives me not only the network to be able to communicate back with the right people to gather the information that we need and build the bridges and build those connections, but it also has given me an incredibly important perspective, both short, medium, and long term, actually, to be able to guide and be a part of that process so that when we move in a strategic way, we're achieving the advancements and achieving the goals that we want to achieve.
Thank you for listening to this week's special episode of The Divide. My name is Iris Xu. Until next time.